Welcome back to CNN News 18 with me, Hem Kaur Saran. Here's a look at what we're tracking for you right now. Now, Prime Minister Modi held a telephone conversation with the Prime Minister of New Zealand. The two leaders were given to understand have jointly announced a landmark India-New Zealand free trade agreement. The leaders have agreed that the FTA would further serve as a catalyst for greater trade, further investment, innovation, and shared opportunities for both the nations. The leaders have also welcomed progress in other areas of bilateral cooperation, which includes defense, sports, education, and people to people ties. So, we're getting reports that India and New Zealand have finalized a free trade agreement. This is what we're hearing right now. For more on this, we have Payal Mehta live with us. Good morning, Payal. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, big news there of an FTA between India and New Zealand. What is your assessment?
As far as India's progress is really concerned, this is one big step in that direction, given the fact that India has been able to sign a trade agreement, much to the need of the people over here, whether it's strategic investment that you're talking about, whether it's bilateral economic engagement, enhancement of market access, promoting investment strength in the strategic cooperation between the two countries. And of course, it opens up in various sectors as well. Remember, dairy was one sector that was non negotiable as far as India was really concerned, and dairy is one very, very staple thing as far as New Zealand is concerned. But India has been able to strike a chord and strike a partnership with New Zealand, living up to what we really stand up for as well. So that big achievement coming through, Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking to his New Zealand counterpart, the Kiwi part that he spoke to, has also assured that there is greater strength that's going to be built with this cooperation. And in a short while from now, him, you will see Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister, in fact, highlight what the nuances of this trade deal really mean. So after UK, the big trade deal that we now have is that of New Zealand, which was of course pursued by the Commerce Minister himself when he went to New Zealand a couple of months ago.
Of course, Pal, as you mentioned, India, of course, would want to shield its dairy industry from imports as well. And this also gives New Zealand access to India's huge market. That being said, if you could just spell it out for our viewers, what this practically means for India going forward.
Well, of course, it means more markets opening up for India. It means more investments that are going to come in as well in various sectors, like you mentioned, in education, in sports. Remember, New Zealand is famous for its sport. New Zealand is very, very famous for its tourist, attractions as well. So that is something which can also be a form of exchange in terms of economic growth and economic cooperation that one can really see. We'll have to just wait and see what are the fine prints as far as that is concerned. We'll have to wait for Piyush Goyal to highlight those fine prints. But as of now, the Prime Minister's conversation with the New Zealand counterpart tells you what this deal really means as well. And we've been able to strike one after the other important deals as far as India's welfare is really concerned.
Right. Now, we also have with us Pallavi. Thank you so much for joining us, Pallavi. Of course, the leaders have agreed that this FTA would serve as a catalyst for greater trade, greater investment, and further deepening bilateral cooperation between the two. What can you tell us?
See, what is happening is a strategy which is coming in play between India and the other countries. Even as everyone talks about where is the US-India trade deal heading, India's two-pronged approach, one, has been to first, obviously, Atmanirbhar Bharat, which means you develop yourself so much that you are no longer dependent on imports and you also find a domestic market. But given the global scenario, global markets cannot be ignored. So the alternative which has been worked upon is what is called the FTAs, or the Free Trade Agreement. Now, this makes it the seventh free trade agreement which India has signed. The latest one, of course, being that of New Zealand, which is what we are talking about, which extends to various fields. For example, education, there is health, there is, of course, some of the products, consumer items, and so on and so forth. We've signed a similar FTA. I think one of the most notable ones was with UK when the Prime Minister himself was present there. We've signed with Oman, for that matter, and many other countries. So this is the seventh FTA, or the Free Trade Agreement. Bilaterals or one-on-one kind of trade agreements is what India is focusing on. One thing, however, is very important and to clear up is that whenever we sign these free trade agreements, India's interest will not be compromised, which means dairy, agro products, that is not going to be compromised. New Zealand, for example, has a lot of dairy industry, but India is very clear that over 12 lakh of dairy farmers in India, we cannot afford to open up this market completely. Very limited manner, yes, but not completely. So the fine print of the FTA is going to be spelled out by Mr. Piyush Goyal, at the press conference, which is holding at noon. But more or less, India has stood firm on this. Our national interest comes first, despite these FTAs that we keep on signing.
Absolutely, of course, as you mentioned, also we are waiting to read the fine print. Payal, if I could just come back to you, when we talk about further deepening collaboration and cooperation when it comes to defense, sports and education, in what ways do you reckon we can see that manifest going forward?
Yes, it's a big way forward. Like Pallavi was just mentioning, 7 FTA agreements we've signed up with, and not to take away from the fact that India has had a hard negotiating skill in place in the form of the government representatives who have gone to multiple places. But just to add and just to tell our viewers that even though we do not have a trade agreement so far with the US, but the trades have certainly the exports have certainly been on the rise. That is one big silver lining as far as India's growth story is really concerned. That we do not have a trade agreement so far with the US, but when you look at the details that have been shared by the Commerce Ministry to a parliamentary committee, you actually understand that the trades have constantly been on the rise as well. So obviously, it's onwards and upwards as far as India is concerned. And like Pallavi was just mentioning, that India has said that no compromise with Indian interests, no compromise with Indian farmers, Indian dairy industry. We are not going to compromise on this, which are going to be at the forefront of our negotiating skills as well. And therefore, the Prime Minister also in the past has said that if he has to pay a price for anything, he is willing to pay a price, but he won't let the country suffer. He'll put the country first and everything else later as well. So over to Mr. Piyush Goyal. Let's see what the fine print of the deal really is. But it's been a successful run so far as India is concerned, whether it's Oman, whether it's UK, and now New Zealand.
Right, absolutely. Now, also the information that's really important to point out for our viewers, this is India's 7th free trade agreement in the last few years after Oman, UK, EFTA countries, UAE, Australia and Mauritius. So this is a huge development, as Payal has been mentioning also. Payal, let me just come back to you. Of course, when we're seeing hard negotiations between India and the United States also, where also, as you mentioned, India has very much made it clear that they're not going to be sacrificing on their interests. They are not going to budge when it comes to agriculture, dairy. That's something similar that we also saw in the case of New Zealand. So in light of that, how do you assess this?
To talk about this openly, Pallavi and I were part of an off-record briefing that Mr. Piyush Goyal had with us a few months ago. And the first question that we did ask him is that, what about the dairy products? What about the dairy industry? Because that is going to be completely non-negotiable as far as New Zealand is concerned. He had very sternly and very importantly told us that we will not compromise with our interests come what may, and we will work that thing around as well. And here we are, and we've negotiated well with New Zealand. We have things in place. The dairy industry stands non-negotiable, even though it is a staple as far as New Zealand is really concerned. So obviously that is something which India has been able to do. India has been able to negotiate on its own terms. And I remember very clearly Piyush Goyal had said a few weeks ago, Pallavi, if you remember, that we will not allow anybody to put the bullet on our head and get anything signed as well. So India is negotiating pretty well, even though the big thing awaited is what happens to the India-US trade agreement.
Absolutely. And Pallavi, if I could just come back to you on that also, we've, of course, as Payal mentioned, we've made it clear that India are resolute and tough negotiators here. Do you reckon this is going to send a message of sorts to the US also, if at all?
Well, I think it's very, very clear, not just to US, but to the world over. As I was just talking about him, one thing which Mr. Piyush Goyal and even the Prime Minister has made it very clear that when it comes to our policies to the world, we are definitely not buckling under any kind of pressure. If you look at the figures which have been given out by the Commerce Ministry, something which even Payal was referring to, actually despite of all this uncertainty we have with America, and this was in the backdrop of this entire rice controversy and a statement coming in from the American President Donald Trump, India's trade with America has actually seen an increase of around 7 to 8%, 8.2% if you go by the Commerce Ministry figures. That's a huge amount, which goes on to show that India has not had to pay the price for, sticking to its ground. And what is our ground? One, looking at newer markets, and that is why FTAs become very important. I mean, there was a time when, for example, lychees from Muzaffarpur or from Dehradun, they are being sent to Qatar, they are being sent to Dubai. We are looking at new products, new markets. That is one strategy, that you are making that as a counter to America in case American markets start closing down for most of the Indian products. But internally also we are creating a domestic market. Now, one of the bulk of India's exports to America was actually in the realm of fisheries, particularly I would say seafood, which is prawns. Now, that is a sector which was hit hard in Andhra Pradesh, Odisha. You you have a huge amount of supply, but how do you generate demand? That is where the government has also stepped in domestically to ensure SOPs are given to the prawn fishery industry. But more than that, people are also encouraged to go in for the domestic products. So we are creating a domestic market. We are also
Right.
creating a newer global markets, which is why the free trade agreements, or the FTAs as they are called, are extremely significant. And the seventh one of them all, which is we are signing between India and New Zealand.
Absolutely. Let me just highlight this for our viewers one more time. India and New Zealand have signed a free trade agreement. New Zealand has a substantial dairy industry, and it's been made clear that we won't open up our markets completely to the New Zealand dairy and agro products, and that is a major aspect of this FTA also. Now, Pallavi, let me just come back to you at the risk of sounding like a broken record here. Of course, you're talking about Atmanirbharta as well as FTA. We live in a largely multipolar, globalized world, and if you could just once again, for the benefit of our viewers, spell it out how India has masterfully been able to balance this symbiotic relationship between the two.
Hema, you must have heard the speeches of the Prime Minister when he had said that there was a time where we used to also import sewing machine needles and nails, for that matter, those iron nails. So there was a time India was so dependent on our imports, whether it comes to food, whether it comes to pharma sector. Incidentally, India happens to be one of the largest pharma sector exporters and substantially to America. So if anyone is going to be hit by this, is actually going to be America, because they are going to be forced to buy pharma from, say, China, which may not be at the good quality which India is able to offer. But having said that, hey, there was a time in India was heavily dependent on our imports. The same products which we depended on abroad is now being made here also. And frankly speaking, many of it was already easily available, but people were not being made aware of it. I can give a quick example. When recently the Commerce Minister was in Maharashtra and he spoke about signing up an agreement with Prada, and this is because of the Kolhapuri chappals. Remember the huge outrage, him, which was there,
Right.
which took place over Prada selling over 1 lakh rupees per one Kolhapuri chappal. Well, we've made that signing up an agreement with them. So Indian products finding a global footprint and a domestic demand being generated, that really is a, I would say the trade or policy or the economic policy of our country.
All right. Well, Pallavi and Payal, thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast. For more on this, of course, we'll continue to track all developments on this front closely also.